All right, so I've kind of changed a little bit about what I want to talk about based on some things. Shared governance, first thing. Board of Trustee Regulation 2006.5 states that they recognize ASB Cabinet reserves the right to appoint all students who are involved in shared governance committees, which has not happened a few times. One particular be with President's Search, where we were told which 2 students would be on that search. We were not given the opportunity as a cabinet to choose those students that would be on that search. I'm not disparaging those who are on the committee, but that process was not followed. The second one is reference to 3003.5, which does specifically state that not only the president or his representative needs to be on a committee, such as hiring for a senior administrator, but also 2 representative students that have to be appointed by the ASB cabinet. Again, from what my understanding is, that was not followed. I sent a letter to the Board of Trustees in regards to this. As the representative of the students, who is elected by the students, I have a responsibility to be their voice in this matter. I have not heard back from anyone except for Board of Trustee Vivian Malou. So I'm going to just point out a few points of the letter for the record, and then finish up. As the chair of the PCC Student Council and the vice president for ASB, I am writing to express a serious concern shared not only by myself, but several student leaders, and a possible breach of the hiring practices used to select the Dean of Student Affairs for the Long Beach College. The Dean of Student Affairs is an important position which directly impacts and affects student governance and student life. The Dean's leadership plays a critical role in the shaping of the future direction of the student programs, and in doing so, the success of the students at the Long Beach College. I'm going to skip down. I referenced the regulations, which I mentioned a little bit ago. It is my understanding that the first screening of this committee was set up to hire for this position in the fall of 2015. 2 students did serve on the hiring committee, but the effort resulted in a failed search. However, in the next rotation of the screening committee, the 2 students were not able to finish their obligation. It is, according to the regulation, the responsibility of HR to contact the organization that represents those students, in this case of the ASB, and to have replacement. It is my understanding that that was not done, and it was proceeded afterwards anyway. When it was brought to the attention of those in charge that the hiring process was an error of board regulation, instead of it resulting in a failed search, which I believe it should have been, they went ahead and continued with the process and just had a couple students meet the final 2 candidates before the final selection was done. Again, I feel this was done in violation of the Board of Trustees regulations set forth. Just to point out a couple things specific to that, neither the ASB president or his representative participated in the very first screening where the 2 students were involved. The students who did serve on the first original screening committee were never appointed by the ASB cabinet, from what I've been able to ascertain, speaking to not only our current advisor, but the previous advisor who said that they were not appointed by ASB cabinet. Checking the minutes of all ASB previous meetings, it is not shown in any of those minutes, and as you guys know, if it's not in the minutes, it didn't happen. The third thing is when the students could no longer fulfill their duties in the second search, as the regulations further describe, the current ASB president and cabinet were never approached to designate replacement students. I feel that this is a serious concern. We believe that the hiring process was definitely handled incorrectly, and it's something, as the voice of the students, I needed to bring to the attention of the trustees. I did bring it up in the ASB cabinet during our meetings. They were aware. I included with the letter that I sent to the Board of Trustees was 4 pages of signatures from students, as well as every student leader in PCC Student Council, and every leader except for 2 that were available to sign from ASB cabinet. I feel that if nothing is done to rectify the situation, or at least to acknowledge the problem that there was and correcting it going forward, then it basically sets a precedent that administration can pick and choose which regulations the board sets out that they can follow. It also sets a very harsh thing for the people who voted for our Board of Trustees and put them in place if they choose not to follow up and seriously take this into consideration. Again, I thank you so much for your time and your consideration in this. It is extremely important that the students are involved in the shared governance, and it's extremely important that we follow the regulations that you yourselves have set forth as the way it needs to be done and not decided any other way. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Wayne.
Okay, there is no need for a second closed session, so I will adjourn the meeting.
Motion to adjourn?
I was going to read this sentence first. The next regular meeting of the Board of Trustees will be held January 24th, 2016, at the Pacific Coast Campus, GG 238. Closed session at 4 o'clock, open session 5. Wait, no way you putting stuff? No. Well.